M3.
Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast,
M3.
the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners
M3.
to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
1, 2, 3, 4,
M3.
Hey everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley, president of Dealer Synergy, creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman Group, creator of the #1 podcast in the industry, the Millionaire Car Salesman. And man, I got a super VIP guest right here, my very close friend, Shep Hyken. Shep, let me do it because you're very humble. I'm not, someone approach you. This dude is one of the best in the world for customer service. Sold a ton of copies of his books, New York Times bestselling author, former president of the National Speakers Association, Hall of Fame speaker, keynote speaker, Shep Hyken. What's up, brother?
Oh, man, it's good to see you. Good to see you.
Man, you know what? It's always amazing to see you, brother, because the amount of knowledge and experience you have, it's like Yoda, you know what I mean? Just much younger.
You know what? Here's the thing. I have a secret. You know what the secret is?
What is it?
I keep making myself write every week. I do at least 2 articles, but even if you did 1 article, and it forces me every single week to stay current, to be relevant, to create good content. And as a result, I mean, that's it. And the more I write, the smarter I get.
Well, again, just to give the people that might not have experienced you before in our industry, how long have you been enveloped in customer service and customer excellence and client awesomeness?
Probably longer than you are old.
Well, I'm getting old, brother. I'm 46.
Okay, well, it's pretty close. I've been doing this 40 years now. I came out of college and I said, didn't know what I was going to do. I was working for an oil company, which meant I pumped gas. And so I actually worked in their headquarters, and I was in the field. I became a region manager, district manager, whatever. And after I remember getting out of college, and I'd worked for this company since I was like a teenager in summer jobs, right? And then college full time. Come out, I become a manager and I get a territory. This is in May, end of May. So June 1st is like my first full-time deal. Mm-hmm. By September, I get called back in. I'm thinking, am I getting fired? No, they sold the company. So in a way they said, look, here's the deal. You can stay here pretty much till we shut things down, so maybe 2-3 months. I said, okay, I'll do that. They gave me a company car with 186,000 miles on it. I was like the 4th or 5th person to have this car. So that and a few months of severance pay. And what am I going to do with myself? And I saw a couple of motivational speakers, sales guy, Tom Hopkins, Zig Ziglar talking about goal setting. So I could do that. Now, everybody needs to know, why could I say that? Because I had an entertainment background. Since I was a little kid, I've been doing magic shows. And I did private parties. I did corporate events in college and worked in comedy clubs. So I felt like I could get up in front of people, right? That's the story. So I just said, I'm going to do it in business. I loved business, graduated college, worked in a company. I'm going to do this. And that's how it all started. Love working with the automotive groups. And the reason I love it is because really, at the end of the day, this dealer sells a car. So does that dealer. Maybe this brand is preferable to the customer, but guess what? There's 5 other dealers that sell the same brand. And if somebody wants a used car, they might go to any other dealer to get it. Why should I go to you? And the reason is you're going to not just give me a competitive price. I'm going to prove value wrapped around that, makes price less relevant. The service is better, and I'm going to get you to come back.
I got to tell you something, Shep, before we go any further. A couple of things that I think that are really unique with you is you are on a global stage, literally from your international businesses. Some of your clients, to my recollection, have been like Nissan manufacturer, right. American Airlines. Like, these are Fortune 100 or Fortune 500 corporations.
Some are I'm not so proud of. No, just kidding. I love them. The airline industry is a tough industry, and I've worked for Comcast and other cable companies. And why can't they get their service together? You know what? Maybe they're doing the best that they can. And what if you take a look at what some of the airlines are doing, for example, it's not always the airline's fault that there's a problem. The reaction of the press makes it sometimes worse than it is. but all of them are trying, and they want to get their passengers from point A to point B in an easy, seamless, frictionless way. But sometimes there's weather, and believe me, I'd rather find about the mechanical problem while I'm on the ground than up in the air. It's so much better that way.
Totally understand. So question is this. So you have experience. See, in our world, there's different levels. You have the manufacturer world.
Right.
Okay. And then, so like, for example, Ford or Nissan manufacturer, they have a strategy to retain customers.
Yep.
Then you've got the dealership level where the dealership or the dealer group, they have to have a strategy for owner retention, client satisfaction. But
Correct.
then you have the individual salesperson who's pretty much like a solopreneur in respect, because they've got to build their own business within the dealership. So I know we have limited time with you today. So I wanted to just get your feedback, especially with the whole dynamics of the world changing since post-pandemic. What is your advice for car dealerships or dealer groups?
Okay, sure. Number one is make it as easy as possible for the customer. And frictionless is the key. Before the pandemic, and this was a case study in one of my books called The Convenience Revolution, all about being easy, right? And it was a car dealership that was 10 miles from where I lived. The one that was closest to me, I could walk to work, drop my car off, walk to work, go back, pick it up. And I was just said, Cindy and I are driving around. It's my wife. We're driving around and she goes, look at that car. It's beautiful. And we're 10 miles from home. I go and look at it. And of course, the salesperson comes up to me and goes, well, what can I help you with? I'm just looking, you know how that goes, right? And then I tell them the reason I won't buy a car from them is because of where they are. And he says, look around. Do you see a showroom here? And I'm looking and I go, no. He goes, I'm not a showroom, a weight room. And he goes, we have one. It's very small. And that's because hardly anybody ever uses it. When you buy a car from us, we will drop off the car and you'll sign the paperwork. Don't even need to come in. I'll give you the demo. Somebody else will take me back or you can drive it, whatever you decide to do. And every time you need service, you call us. We'll bring you a loaner. We'll pick your car up and bring it back when it's ready. The only time you ever come in here is if you want to visit me or if you want to buy another car. But even then, we can bring you another car. So thinking, wow, this is good. And what's this going to cost? No, we should be competitive with everyone else. So I then went to the dealer that was closest to me. And I thought, okay, really, I love this white glove type service, concierge level type service. And I started asking them, would they match that? And price wise, they were less than the dealer that was 10 miles away, but they wouldn't give me this value that I really value my time. If I don't have to drive 20 minutes there and 20 minutes back and then go pick up the car, I mean, that's an hour and a half out of my day, let alone everything else. So I thought I'll pay a little extra. And that's what we need to think about. What value can we bring? Years ago, there was not that many years ago, 7 years ago, there was a JD Power report, and it talked about what customers expected from car dealerships. And they specifically said the high-end dealership, it's easy to make an appointment. They're ready for me when I come in. Okay, meaning my paperwork's ready, or if it's on the computer, they expect me to be there. They call me when the car is ready. And when I go to pick it up, it's usually cleaner than when I dropped it off because they, do a quick little wash on it. That's the high end. And I'm thinking, that's high end? That's only, and they said only X% of dealers do this. I'm thinking, that's common sense. Any dealer, I don't care what brand you are, should be doing this. And if that's what's making customers happy, it's common sense that unfortunately is not so common.
No, Shep, you are spot on. I want to raise you on one. And I don't even know if you're aware of this, but for all the years that I sold cars, I've been in the industry 23 years. There is a rule that if you buy a new car, okay, you get a free tank of gas. They'll fill up the gas tank. It's not mandatory on used cars because there's no manufacturer to regulate that stuff. So this would always blow my mind. I'm just like, okay, wait a minute here. So if somebody buys a new car, you're going to fill up their gas tank before they leave the lot. But when somebody buys a used car, if there's only a quarter tank or an eighth of a tank left, that's all you're giving somebody that just bought this car. It just blows my mind. So can you just dive in just for a couple more minutes on how important it is to understand your customers' wants, needs, expectations, and then actually meet them if you want to maintain business with people?
Well, and by the way, what you just said is brilliant. If I were running that dealership and I sold a used car, I would make sure that the customer knows that we're doing this for them. I think that's important. By the way, when you come here, everything's gonna be great. We're gonna fill the tank up for you. And just as a way of saying thank you. That's just somebody, I can imagine a customer going, wow, that's nice. I like these people. And what you want to do is create these touch points where they say exactly that. What we're looking for in the world of customer amazement, and that's what we want to create, is that amazing experience, is not about being over the top. Giving somebody a tank of gas when they leave is not over the top. The Ritz-Carlton, I'm friendly with Horst Schulze, who is the first president and co-founder of the Ritz-Carlton, iconic brand, worldwide, known for service. I go, how do you do that? He says, you just have to be the tiniest bit better than average, which is what I've been preaching and teaching for years. And I said, how much better? He said, 10% better. I go, okay, 10% better. Tell me what 10% means. He goes, I'll tell you what it means. It's very easy. When you pull up to a Ritz-Carlton, the bellman looks at the luggage tag, sees your name, and says, are you Mr. Bradley? And you say, yes, I am. Well, welcome, Mr. Bradley. We walk up to the front desk and the bellman hands me off to the next person. This is Mr. Bradley. He's here to check in. Well, Mr. Bradley, it's good to see you. And types, you've been here before. Well, welcome back. And then you come down the elevator 2 hours later and the person behind the front desk says, hope you're having a good stay, Mr. Bradley. How's your room? You're using my name. That's the 10%, just using my name. Okay. The gas tank. Maybe that's a little better than 10%, but it's not over the top. Blow me away. Nobody else could have done this. No, it's what you're doing to create an amazing experience is simply take the word always and put something nice behind it. That's simply a nice expectation. They're always helpful. When I call and ask a question, they always have the answer. They always get back to me quickly. Whenever I need to make an appointment, it's always easy and they're so always friendly. The word always followed by something that really is nothing more than an expectation is going to put you at that consistent and predictable experience. And the customer says they're amazing. So it's not, rocket science. It's not about being over the top and managing those expectations. You need to know who your customers are. And if you got a business customer, the lights come boom, in and out, great. If you got somebody in this dropping their car off and they want to talk, and show them the coffee machine, get them a cup of coffee. While you're there, show them the latest model of the new car. By the way, that's how we ended up with my wife's car, because one day I'm in there talking to the guy and I just started firing up a conversation. He was going to give me a loaner on the way out. He says, you know what we're going to do? We're going to loan you the car that your wife is going to buy. Damn, it worked. Okay. So.
Well, Shep, I absolutely love this. It's funny you mentioned that about the JD Power. There's actually several specific things that automotive prospects are interested in: price, availability, convenience. They're looking for a different way to do business because there's a stereotypical way that they don't want to deal business with, like back in the day. They've heard these stories. Their trade information, they've got credit, or they're just looking for research. But you hit one on the head. It's actually my hot button. Time is the most precious commodity. So yes, for me, I'm not always looking for a race to the bottom for the cheapest. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not stupid. I'm not trying to overpay or pay too much. But for me, I'm more interested in what can you do to save me time and save me aggravation. I'm too busy. And I love it. That's the reason why I buy cars from the places that I buy them, because of how convenient. They pick up my car, they drop it off. If I got a problem, I just call somebody, and they're not pissed off when I call them and ask them a question. They're more than happy to help make my life easier. All right. So besides convenience, what else can car dealers do to enhance the experience of shopping or buying a vehicle, and most importantly, differentiate that experience from what they're going to get from everybody else?
All right. So two things. Number one, I want you to journey map the heck out of your business. And what I mean by that is take the typical customer interactions that you have. This is what a first-time buyer looks like when they come in. This is what somebody looks like when they come in for service, and analyze every touch point that customer is going to have an interaction with you. So let's just use service. I have to call and make an appointment, or maybe now I can go online and book it, through an online system, which now is even easier because I don't have to be put on hold, wait. I don't have to look while you're looking. You ask me, are you available on this date? No, this date. No, I can do it all myself, save time. That's an interaction point. But if somebody does call, what's that experience look like? How long are they staying on hold? So you're looking at every possible interaction point and you're saying, what can I do to optimize this for the experience? Okay, that's number one. I want you to think about that, because that's the way you'll look for, or you'll discover where weak links are in the chain. This is where customers are feeling frustrated. This is where customers are, maybe have to wait longer than they should. Now, I want you to do a 6-step process. This is right out of my most recent book titled I'll Be Back, How to Get Customers to Come Back Again and Again. And this is you sit down with your team. Doesn't have to be everybody, but why don't you take the different managers and assistant managers from different departments in the dealership, service, parts, sales, whatever, maybe a couple other stakeholders. And what I mean by that are maybe it's frontline employees, salespeople, somebody at the counter, whatever. You sit down and you answer these 6 questions. Why does a customer choose to do business with us instead of a competitor? Number 1. Number 2, why would they go to a competitor instead of us? So, and you're going to say that maybe they got a better deal, price. Maybe they've got better service than us. Okay. Look at their ratings. You can see, look at the reviews. You can see, are we comparable to them? Number 3, if a customer does choose to do business with them instead of us, and we know why, okay, because that's, the second question, could we do the same thing in our dealership? So now we're poaching ideas from our other dealership. Wow, the other dealership drops the car off when they need service and gives them a loaner. Can we do that? Yeah, we probably could. Next question, number 4. Let's forget about the automotive industry. Let's talk about any company we love doing business with. Let's just go around the room. The top 2 or 3 companies we love doing business with, list them out. Now, why do we love them? I want you to be as specific as possible. And then next question, number 5. What is it that we love about these other companies outside of automotive that we can maybe take 1 or 2 or 3 of these ideas of the things we love and make them work for us? And now what's happening is you're pulling ideas outside of your industry. So you don't just become best in the industry. Now you're starting to look like world class, right? And once you put that all together and you start to implement, question number 6 is almost like question number 1, but you just add the word now. Now that we've done all this, why would somebody want to do business with us instead of our competition?
Shep, as I'm listening to you, I'm like, oh my God, why didn't I think of this stuff before? I've been doing this for
common
so many
sense.
years.
It's not rocket science, like I said.
Yeah, but I've been doing this for so long, I can't tell you the last time or ever, to be honest with you, that I've actually sat in a meeting at a dealership or with a client and we went around and did that type of an exercise. And I'm thinking there's so much money, especially now with how expensive cars are. Dealers are making more money than they've ever made in their lives right now. It's unreal. And so we should be taking the time to reverse engineer the ultimate experience, usually the most amazing experience. And I like that. Don't just look at other dealers for influence or inspiration. Look at outside other industries. Can you give me an example? Can you give us an example? Just like a minute. Some other, whether it's a dealership or outside.
What is a company do you think pops up? Who's your favorite company to do business with? Most people say I'll give you a hint, starts with an A.
Amazon,
right.
Yes.
And so we're in a situation where we're doing a B2B meeting, business to business. So it doesn't even like we sell to consumers. Although if we have fleet, we're selling to businesses. Anyway, we're in there and I am auditing my trainer, one of my trainers who's actually doing a training session. And we're doing this exercise and somebody says, I love Amazon. Why do you love Amazon? You know what? We get these emails from them. The moment we make a purchase, it's confirmed, it's shipped, and some executive in the back says, you know what? One of the things we do is try to minimize the emails we send to our clients. And my trainer was there going, okay, but we're listening to what he thinks is why he likes the business, not if it would work for us. And I raised my hand. I said, you missed the point altogether. Nobody likes to get emails building in their inbox, but they do like to get information. They do like to be kept up to date. They do like the proactiveness of giving them the information before the customer is forced to call in to get that information. So if I am confirmed that my shipment, I bought my product, I get the shipping information, and it's 3 days and I haven't gotten it yet, well, I can look at the shipping information, click on a button and see where it is rather than have to call Amazon. They've eliminated the call and they've given me the power to do it myself. And guess what? I'm extremely happy that they did it. Now, if I noticed it was lost, then I can call them or let them know that it's lost. But it's not the emails that the customer loves. It's the fact that they have control by getting information. So I said to the executive, so what we need to do is make sure that all of our customers feel they have control over the situation, even when they don't, simply by making them feel confident because we've kept them up to date with information.
After these messages, we'll be right back. Dealer Synergy is an award-winning training, consulting, CRM, recruiting, and accountability firm. We are a 13-time Dealer Choice Award winner. We have proudly served automotive dealers for 20 years and have trained over 150,000 automotive sales professionals. We've worked with over 3,700 rooftops across the country, not including our global clients in Canada, Russia, the Dominican Republic, and more. We are the most sought-after subject matter experts and pioneers of the automotive industry. Our executive team has a combined 75-plus years of automotive industry expertise at the highest level. We've literally taken dealerships from having challenges and problems, some even on the brink of bankruptcy, to becoming national success stories.
Dealer Synergy had really helped build something from the ground up. You guys have made me fall in love with what I've always loved to do. I give credit to Dealer Synergy.
I just hired 8 people, and Dealer Synergy HR really was critical in me being able to do it.
You provided the training, you helped us with our CRM.
You provided a solution for a lot of things that I was looking for. Our people loved LA, what Karen has done for me personally. Franca, her communication back and forth. You've got a really solid group of people.
Having somebody like Sean and his company that knows automotive, so the marriage between what knowledge he possesses and the fact that he has this great video production staff, it gives you the best of both worlds. So I would certainly recommend them.
Sean comes in the dealership and he advanced us light years ahead of our competition.
Just an absolute leading edge training company.
Go to BradleyOnDemand.com and give your team access to the best automotive training in the world.
Shep, I love this. And just because of the time's sake, I want to pivot and I want to redirect this question. Same line of questioning with your superpowers in customer excellence. Let's look at the individual automotive sales professional.
Yes. Okay.
And again, this person is an entrepreneur. Technically, they should be. And if they want to build their own business, they need to engage the community. You know what I mean? They need to build relationships and let people know that, hey, I sell cars. So they need to acquire prospects and they need to acquire referrals. What advice do you have for the individual salespeople, especially the ones that just get into the industry and they don't have a book of business. They don't have a pipeline yet. So what advice do you have them, for their career? How could they really hit the ball running?
Right. Obviously, a little training doesn't hurt, but I'm going to tell you the one thing I think more than anything is communication. If you come in and you're interested, and by the way, I'm interested in helping you, not selling you, because I help you enough, you're going to buy from me. I don't have to sell you because you're buying. And that's to me, sure, we got to push it along a little bit, and I'm okay with that. The traditional stereotype of a salesperson, not just in the car business, but any typical salesperson has a negative stigma from decades and decades of manipulative sales techniques. So if I want you to trust me. If I can give you an experience that builds trust, chances are you're going to buy from me. And if I prove I'm more interested in taking care of you than I am the sale, I'm going to get the sale. I'm leading up to something here in just a moment. I guess one way of saying it is, if you chase the money, you might get the money. If you chase the relationship, you'll probably get the money. Make sense? So,
yes.
Okay. Now, what I want you to be thinking about is the content that you can use. It could be, thanks for coming in, a thank you note or an email, whatever. By the way, thank you notes, so freaking powerful. Just yesterday, I interviewed the president of Hallmark Business, who specializes in cards and notes for businesses to send their customers, not just the Hallmark cards you buy in a gift store, right? And it was fascinating how powerful a handwritten note is in today's world. So I might send you a note. I might follow up with a phone call. Okay, maybe another note. Maybe after you bought from me, I jokingly say the most abused customer is a sold customer, because after they're sold, What happens? Well, we're moving on to the next guy. It's going to be another 4 years before this dude buys a car, or whatever. No, I think you keep that relationship going. And the more I am front of mind, the better it is. There's a gentleman who's a top salesperson in his dealership. Every quarter, he sends out a little newsletter. It's fall. You need to turn your clocks back for the hour with daylight savings time. You need to get the leaves. This is how I make sure your gutters don't clog. Nothing to do with cars. Just, I'm here to help you and I'm your friend. And it sounds like, a little cheesy, but it works. Why is he the number one guy? Follow-up, correspondence, handwritten notes, greeting cards, whatever. Keep in front of them and do it in a way that's non-salesy and more, I'm your friend and I'm trying to help.
Well, Shep, listen, I know that you have a hard stop, so this is just a little teaser. What I want to do is
let's take another 5 minutes or so, because my appointment that should be walking in any moment is not here yet.
Okay, let's go. Okay, so I got one for you, and what I'm doing here is, first of all, I really realize how much I miss talking to you today. I mean, I definitely want to get you on the calendar and elaborate on this. But one thing that I'm also really passionate about, one of our clients, shout out to RK Auto Group from Vineland, New Jersey. They're going to be the cover in June for Dealer Magazine, which goes out to 25,000, dealerships, franchise, independent. And one of the things that they're great at, Shep, is that they're number one Chevy dealership out of 3,000 stores in the country for making strides for breast cancer. So they are so interested in the community is causes. And here's the thing that I'm bringing up is that Hyundai manufacturer has something called Hope on Wheels. And I think I've talked to you about this years ago, but Hyundai generates more money than the United States government does to fight pediatric cancer. So a foreign company raises more money than the entire United States government for pediatric cancer. Now, the reason why I bring this up is there's a lot of manufacturers that do tremendous amounts of charity work. They generate millions and millions of dollars to the community. And there's so many dealers that do so much for the community. As a matter of fact, in 08, 09, when we had the massive recession and then the General Motors and Chrysler were shutting down dealerships, the regular community did not realize how much dealerships do for them until they got consolidated and all the Little League sponsorships, the Toys for Tots, all this stuff went away. So my question is, how can dealers leverage all the things that the manufacturers do for the community and all the stuff that they do without sounding cheesy, like, hey, we help kids with cancer buy cars from me? Because I'm not endorsing that, but I think it's important to let the community know in a certain way without being cheesy. Does that make sense?
Yep. Let me give you some stats and facts from our research we do every year. We research thousands of consumer over the years based on the U.S. population for age and gender and ethnicity and all that. 43% of consumers believe, and this is this year's research, that it's important that a company has a social cause. Only 24%, less than 1 in 4, say it's not important to them. Okay. By the way, Gen Z and millennials, over half of them feel that's important. Now it gets better. Are you ready? 41% are willing to pay more if a company or brand aligns with that cause that they're into. And 25% will even tolerate poor customer service if the brand has, a good cause and means well. So here's the point. I don't think you can say, hey, we support pediatric cancer, buy from us. But when that kind of, it's not apparent, like so blatant and overt as a sales pitch, but when it's there as this is who our company is, people say, I like that. You know what? I'll go in there and check them out. By the way, the first thing is the customer has to want that particular brand, or be willing to say, out of the 3 or 4 brands I'm interested in, because they are involved with pediatric cancer and my nephew had it and survived, I'm tied to that. I'm gonna choose that brand over a few others. So, but you get the idea. That's number one important. Number two, I know that that even though poor customer service might be tolerated, don't accept poor customer service. I share that stat just because I think it's an important one. But it's today we want to be in the community. There are a lot of large car dealerships. I'm doing a major conference for a nationwide set of dealers, automotive group. And when they get into town, local dealerships get concerned because they have so much money. Let me take you to Ace Hardware. who's one of my clients, and I wrote a book that features them throughout the entire book. And by the way, Ace hardware dealers are no different than automotive dealers. Big name, Ace, you've got Chevrolet or GM or Ford or Nissan or Hyundai, whatever it is above your marquee, it's the same thing, but you own your dealership. What do you do to compete against the big boys? You get involved in the community. When Home Depot moved directly next to a tiny Ace hardware store that had maybe 10,000 square feet, now there's this huge 100,000, 125,000 square foot building next to them, 10 times the size, outspending them in advertising by 30 to 1. This is what they decided to do. We pull all our advertising. Let's sponsor every soccer team, every church dance, anybody that's within our, I talk about owning the mile. It might be a metaphorical mile, could be 5 miles. Okay. But you have to own that. And they decided to focus on the community instead of flyers that are in the newspaper or, radio advertisements or whatever. And I mean, they backed off a little. They didn't 100%. But here's the point. They not only thrived, they not only survived, they also thrived. They actually increased because of their involvement. But they never said, I'm sponsoring your kids' soccer team, buy a car from me. No, they were just there in a time of need.
Shep, I think you're, again, spot on. You mentioned something very, very, very split for like a nanosecond before. You said, training. Here's where it comes into is that I'm appalled and shocked still that most sales professionals or sales consultants, I should say, at dealerships, they don't know what their value package proposition is. They don't know what is different and better about that organization than any other dealership. They don't know what their social responsibility statement is. They don't know all the stuff that the dealership does, and they don't even know all the stuff that the manufacturers do. So I think step one is training your sales team, your BDC team, to understand what you do. And to your point, not everybody's going to let you know, hey, my kid's got cancer, or I just had breast cancer, whatever. But here's what I do know from being in the industry for 23 years. It's a relationship, and there's a lot of conversation. There's a lot of dialogue. You find out so much from your prospects. It's almost like going to a barbershop or going to the bar and you're talking to the bartender. When I'm telling you, I've been in the industry 23 years, and I know so much that sometimes stuff that I don't even want to know about divorces, about these problems, this person passed away. People share information of their lives. So here's a tip. If somebody's talking about, let's just say, a cancer battle or struggle, or they support this, and you know that your dealership or your manufacturer is in part of this, that's how you transition. You could say, oh, Mr. Customer, I'm so sorry to hear that. Just want to let you know, that's actually something that we are very passionate about here at ABC Motors. As a matter of fact, here at RK Chevrolet, we have been the #1 Chevy dealership in the United States for the last 6 years in a row for making strides for breast cancer. So that's the type of ways that I would say that you need to know what you do and be able to regurgitate it or be able to share that with your customers. If you don't know what's going on in your dealership, you're not going to be able to take that information and let your people know. Would you agree?
So if your dealer, so there's two things you're talking about, train them to do that. Okay. Yes. Of course. But as you're talking, I'm thinking, what's really important? If somebody says, if I were to ask you, if you're a typical car salesperson, and I said, tell me about your dealership. We sell cars. Okay. And we're a particular brand of cars, whatever it is. And, we have a great service department. We've won these awards. You know what? Nice to know. But what you're talking about, Sean, is something completely different. What we're going to talk about now is tell me about your dealership. Well, it's obvious we sell cars, but here's what we believe in. Okay. Now we're going to tell you we're in this community. By the way, I know a lot of the dealers that I met when I went to your event, Dealer Synergy. Yeah.
IS20G, the Internet Sales 20 group.
Yep. Internet Sales. Anyway, wonderful, wonderful conference, right? When's the next one?
You know what? I'm so glad you mentioned that. Nobody knows this. This is the first announcement. It's going to be in April. Shep, it's my 20-year anniversary owning Dealer Synergy. So it's going to be a 20-year anniversary.
Excellent. In April. So here's what gosh, and I got distracted. I noticed most of those were independent dealerships, correct? They're not like part of large.
No, they're franchise. Chains. Most of them are franchises.
Or they're franchise. But groups, yes. What I mean by independent, they're ones and twos, maybe threes, but they're not 50. Okay. Right. So, and I get that. So as a smaller player, I think there's different things that we can do that give us advantage over larger players. By the way, there's different things that they do They give them advantages, but we got to take advantage of what we can do. And one of the things is we have a better opportunity because we're truly local to preach local, to be local. People like buying. That's a trend right now, especially with your younger buyers.
Wait, Shep, we have to bring this up here. And again, I know that you're neutral. I'm a dealer advocate. There's a lot of smoke, meaning like a lot of drama with companies like Carvana and Vroom, because these companies are very parasitic to our industry because their message is dealers are shady and evil. You don't want to go to car dealers. Come to us. They have these stupid gimmicky vending machines and things like that.
Right.
But the reality is that these big companies, these .coms, do not have their own inventory. It's the actual dealer's inventory. They don't have ties to the community. So one of the ways that dealerships and dealer groups have a way to combat these big corporate websites that are siphoning their revenue is by being entrenched in the community, because none of these big companies have those relationships, to your point.
And it doesn't matter if it's Carvana or not. And by the way, I love their business model. I think it's a pretty interesting model. Just know that you're never going to get 100% of the sales in your neighborhood or in your community or in your city or in whatever your territory is. Know that some of the sales are going to go elsewhere. They have advantages that they will take advantage of. You have advantages that you will take advantage of. So you need to focus on the market share of the customers that will buy from you, not all customers.
Exactly.
Makes sense? Yep.
100%. So Shep, this is the question that I want to elaborate next time we go through is beginning, middle, and end. Where does somebody start? Because they're listening to this and they're excited, like, man, Shep is brilliant. Okay, I want to entrench and create an amazing experience. So what's the first actionable item after listening to this podcast?
Okay, the first thing is I want you to recognize that experience and service, it's everybody's job. Okay, so journey map the heck out of your business. We talked about that earlier. Look at the touch points. Look behind the scenes, what drives the touch points. Ask every employee, mechanics, salespeople, administrative, everybody, to write down an example when they created a good experience for one of their customers in the last 7 days. Have them do that on a regular basis so they start to become aware of when they're creating good service experiences. Meet once a week, share some of these examples. Managers' jobs are to look at these examples and then go talk to their employees and say, you know, we can do better than this, or this is a great one. And here's how I would keep doing it. And I'm going to tell everybody about it, you know, that kind of thing, even in other departments. So do that. I want you to go to my website, and this is not a blatant pitch, but it's a minor pitch. It's hyken.com, Hyken. The research that I just talked about with the social cause, there's a 36-page report there on stats and facts about general consumers. Understand your consumers. Look at that, and it'll justify the time and expense you're going to use to do this effort of customer service. Maybe even an investment in a good CRM and that type of thing, which most of us have anyway. That's where I want you to start. And hey, if you want any good training, go to
BradleyOnDemand.com
and visit Sean. You know,
and actually, you're on my platform too. There's a couple.
I'm on the platform as well. So,
yep. So listen, Shep, I really appreciate your time. I'm going to book you again to elaborate this conversation.
Yep.
But as always, brother, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your expertise with our audience. I appreciate it very much.
All right. Love you, bro.
Take care.
Thanks.
So there you have it, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. This podcast comes to you every week from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you have a question about the show or would like the chance to become a guest, feel free to contact us directly at 856-546-2440 or email us at millionairecarsalesman@gmail.com. This program is a presentation of Synergy Records, produced by Tiana Mick and L.A. Williams. Production and engineering by L.A. Williams. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is hosted every week by L.A. Williams and the millionaire car salesman himself, Sean V. Bradley. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast can be found everywhere, so please don't forget to review, subscribe to, and share the show. Thanks for listening to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and remember, where I'm from, money provides options. If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.